All right. Salvation, Allah, unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2, all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4, all members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5, this organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7, all members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must look after the duties of your household. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder. Moorish American prayer, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office of Noble Drew Ali, Home Office, Chicago, Illinois, U.S.A. Islam Moors.
Islam.
Islam. Brother Kobe, would you please read our writs?
Islam, Grand Sheikh. Arise and give all honors to our great God Allah. Rise and give honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Rise and give honors to the forerunner, Marcus Messiah Garvey, the harbinger. Rise and give honors to all Muslims, all ills and bays on the call and on the planet. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam, I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Ajax must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will now recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, and on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans that causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali, and the prophet is not right. The temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans. They do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Jew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is instruction from your prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather, divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Jew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule them to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Islamism and gratitude. Sister Lachey L, would you please read our additional laws?
Islam. Arise to give all praise to the great Father God Allah, honors to the Prophet, Noble Jew Ali, Honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey, the forerunner of the Prophet. Honors to all Muslims on the call and all Muslims around the world. Questionnaire and additional laws for the Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1, Grand Sheiks and governors and heads of all temple, all business. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their ADEP meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on the meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish uplifting funds, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out of your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and mind pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Islam. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Islam, sister, and gratitude. For the caller who just called in, it says iPhone 11 Pro Max. Would you please state your name and location?
Hey, how you doing, brother? I'm from Orlando, Florida.
All right, Islam, brother. What's your name, brother?
Sean.
Okay, Sean. Please in the chat, just type your name and location again, and also share your email with us, email and phone number.
Okay.
Gratitude.
Islam, Grand Sheik, I work with brother.
Okay, okay. Okay, gratitude. Were you on our call, I think last week?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, so we got you already. All right. You don't have to share anything. Thanks. All right, Islam. Brother Seymour Bay, would you please read our divine warning?
Islam, Grand Sheikh. First, I rise and give praise to the Most High, Father of the universe, the great God Allah. I give honors to His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality. I give honors to the forerunner to the prophet, our brother Marcus Garvey, for paving the way. Also want to give honors to all the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and all you Muslims on the call. Happy holiday. Happy holy day, I'm sorry. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they're glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is the free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I'm hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I'm depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and the South in unity. placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they have fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and I have examined the conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I'm hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet, Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Islam, brother. Gratitude and happy Holy Day, Muslims. All right, today we will be in chapter 36 of the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's holy instructions from the prophet, know thyself. When we're looking at chapters 36 through 49, we're speaking about the self, the true self, the higher self, okay? So we were just going over previously, over the previous weeks, going over the chapters on our social duties, on how we conduct ourselves within our communities. Now we're speaking about the higher self over these next 3 chapters. And okay, Islam. Okay, Islam more, thanks for your patience. So just that phrase, know thyself, that's right in the front of our Quran, right? As soon as you open it up, like page 3, it says, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. This is an ancient phrase that for the most part, you see it attributed to the ancient Greeks. But for those of us in the know, we know that it goes back way further than that, right? So you just, even if you just look up know thyself, even if you type ancient Kemet, it's still going to be attributed to the ancient Greeks and to Socrates. They'll say he's the first one to utter that phrase, and they always attribute it to ancient Greece. But those of us who know, we know that it goes back even further than that. As it says here on this article on News 24, it says, "Know thyself" is an ancient Egyptian precept from the Temple of Luxor. So it's literally carved in stone in the temples in Egypt. And then it was appropriated by a number of Greek writers, like Socrates, for example. But they were influenced by the Egyptian civilization. Some of them were initiated into the ancient mystery school in Egypt. Okay? And then later on, this is why it was adopted by Plato, and that's who's given credit for it, and Socrates and others. Okay? But this is an ancient phrase that's reminding you right away to know yourself. So it's speaking about knowing your true self. The true self is what? The higher self. All right. So when it's speaking about the true self, it's speaking about Allah within each one of us, because Allah planted his seed in us. All right. And let's go ahead and go into the Quran. Right, sorry, I believe that's on page 44. Okay, and then just once again, though, this is literally, this is an ancient phrase, right? Even this has been transcribed from hieroglyphics, saying the body is the temple of the gods within you. Therefore, it is said, man, know thyself. Okay. Another Egyptian proverb, know the world in yourself. Never look for yourself in the world, for this would be to project your illusion. So it's a reminder that was literally carved in stone, that was written in the hieroglyphics, written on the papyrus, to always keep that in mind. Know yourself, the true you. And we're not speaking about the body. We're speaking about Allah within, the spirit man. Okay. And as we go into this chapter, all right, want to always keep in mind that this is why this is in the front of the Quran, and then in chapter 36 going towards the back, it's just a key reminder. We must always be aware of our true nature. Okay, the messages that we're getting throughout the Quran about subduing our lower self, our carnal nature, that's dealing specifically with the body, which is actually addressed here in this chapter when it speaks about us and calls us, "O child of the dust," right? That's the body, but that's not who we are. There's something else inside of us, right? And the prophet let us know that the keys of civilization was, and it still is, in the hands of the Asiatic nations. But in order for us to be able to rule and to live up to our potential, we have to know thyself. And it's not just a phrase that people can say, like nowadays people call themselves woke. It's not about just having some information or knowledge. It's about truly understanding the higher self within, the still small voice that we hear, and being able to subdue the carnal nature, the lower self. All right. And in this state, now with the keys of civilization in our hands, now we can rule, because the key of civilization actually is in our hands, even though we don't realize it. It was and it is. And in some ways, we're being used, since we don't realize, we don't truly know who we are, we're being used to spread destruction. We're being used to encourage drug use. to encourage infidelity, to encourage everything that harms, to the point where we're a detriment to ourselves and then also to the rest of the world. All right. And the world follows us even in our lower state because we have the keys to civilization. Okay. So this is extremely important. This is a key that can't be left out. All right. And this is why Allah divinely prepared a prophet to get us back on the course, to get us back in alignment with Allah. And then if we truly know thyself, then we know that Allah is in man, spirit man. And we know that we must work to bring this out in each and every one of us so that we can reach deific life. So we have to raise our thoughts to divine wisdom. All right. And just going in here to verse 1. Weak and ignorant as thou art. Okay, and remember, we're speaking about man. Weak and ignorant as thou art. Weak, meaning lacking in bodily strength, health and vigor, as in from age or sickness, or even lacking in mental power, intelligence or judgment, lacking firmness or character. So weak and ignorant as thou art. And then ignorant, this is, speaking on the other end, lacking education, knowledge, or awareness about something in particular, unaware. So weak and ignorant as thou art, oh man. Humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. And where it says, "Oh, child of the dust," we're just speaking about the earth, right? Reminding us where the flesh actually came from and also where it's going to return, right? So, weak and ignorant as thou art, oh man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? And what is infinite wisdom? It's spiritual wisdom, spiritual consciousness, spiritual awareness, and it's actually limitless. It's limitless, right? Has anybody ever seen that movie? Seen the movie Limitless? Where the guy, he takes a pill and now he has his brain, like he has the capacity to use his whole entire brain. On that note, I'm gonna pause. Islam, brother Kobe, I yield the floor to you.
Islam, I get the highest praise to the great God Allah and our prophet Noble Jew Ali. I just wanted to come back on that. When you do look at that, it's infinite and it's finite. And the stuff that will pass, and we gotta understand when it comes to us as Moslem Americans, we gotta get back in tune and alignment on the aspect of what is infinite and what is finite. Islam, I yield the floor.
All right, Islam, brother, gratitude. Islam. So okay, so infinite wisdom is not of the physical realm. All right, it's a spiritual consciousness, right? So we have wisdom that you gain, we gain through our experience, right? Knowledge that we learn, wisdom that we gain from experience, just human wisdom. Okay, and that can be used for good or evil, but infinite wisdom is spiritual, and that's the will of Allah made manifest. Okay, so this is why it's saying we're supposed to raise our thoughts. That's the command that we all have eventually to do, to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom. All right, that's the will of Allah made manifest, that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Okay, so you don't necessarily, and then this is the thing, also, we always have access to this. We have to raise our vibration, raise our thoughts up. That's why we have the 12-step ladder, the invisible tools that we use to work on subduing our lower self so that we can begin to access the higher functions that we have, the higher faculties. Okay. And then once again, you know, spiritual wisdom, it's not the same as, you know, wisdom that you get from life experiences, right? If you don't know the right way to go and you're limited to your human intellect, you know, you can make all types of mistakes. But if we're able to tap within to our higher self, you always know the right way to go. You can be led to the right way. All right, because it's not based off of our experiences. It's infinite. It has infinite capacity. All right, so even things that you don't think you're capable of doing or knowing, it knows. Okay, so when we're being guided to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom, this is for our own benefit. It's not just supposed to, you know, it's not just out there to be a chore for us to make things harder. Okay, and that's also why I advise all Moors do the exercises to open your third eye. But going back to this, wouldest thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? So we're speaking again on infinite wisdom. If we were to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom, we would see omnipotence. That's having unlimited or universal power. Unlimited or universal power, authority, or force, all powerful. Okay, so if we were to tap into this, to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom, wouldest thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? All right, and if we remain just in our weak and ignorant state, we can't really truly recognize the glory of Allah. So we're being guided here to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom so that you can truly perceive Allah and the greatness. And that's the thing, we're always connected to Allah. Spirit man is, you know, in us, and that spirit man in you is Allah in you. So we can always tap into this, but we just have to do a little bit of work. And there was an old saying, I believe it's from the Bible, but I know in church they used to say, you take one step towards God, he takes 2 steps towards you. So we always have that capacity to tap in. All right, and so this is just being put out there before us, you know, wouldest thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldest thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame, right? And then contemplate, that's to observe or study thoroughly, right? So telling you to ponder on that, take deep consideration, you know, into your physical body, your frame, and all the things that encompass it. You know, study your body. You know, see how it works, how perfectly it actually works. And then contemplate on it. Who else could have created it but the Creator? And then even the ability for you to ponder on that. All of creation doesn't think like on that level, right? So moving on, fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy Creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence. Okay, and when it's saying fearfully, that really means like extreme in size, intensity, right? Full of awe or reverence. That's what that's meaning when it's saying fearfully and wonderfully art thou made, right? Because wonderfully, we know that's great, that's marvelous, right? But fearfully, you know, it's being used in this way to explain something that's intense, that's, you know, that's kind of difficult to explain, right? And wherefore of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works. All right, it's like, what other purpose, You know, is there for us to be the only ones that stand upright? We're the only ones. Wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them? Wherefore to admire, but that thou mayest adore their and thy creator? Okay. Wherefore is consciousness reposed on thee alone? And whence is it derived to thee? Right. So that's, you know, who else, you know, there's no one else in creation, as far as we know, as far as on this planet, you know, that has this awareness of their own existence, this state of being. Right. This spiritual awareness of Allah and man. And then to be able to think about this and understand it. It's been bestowed upon us, like a favor has been bestowed upon us. Okay. And this is just a reminder, because, you know, sometimes we can get caught up in life and not really think about these things. It is not in flesh to think. It is not in bones to reason. Okay. And, you know, on that line, like, it's not in the flesh to think. You know, the common response would be, well, that's what the brain is for, right? You had the brain. The brain, I believe, has like 68 trillion or billion, either 68 trillion or 68 billion, still humongous numbers, but that many neurons in it, right? It's similar to the universe. All right, it has this many neurons. It's amazing. It's incredible to just to imagine, but at the same time, thoughts don't truly originate in the brain. I remember reading a book. There's this guy. He's a PhD. He was a cellular or molecular scientist. His name's Bruce Lipton, and he was going over like all of these experiences from people who were in surgery. There was somebody who was in surgery, and they're like describing everything that the doctors were doing to their body while they were under anesthesia. And they even know that one of the doctors had messed up. They almost died, right? And so the whole time they were looking at everything from above, and they're describing things that are going on in the surgery room and even in the next room. And like, there's no real way for them to be able to have witnessed those things. And especially they heard the conversations the doctors were having while they were out cold. Okay, even when they had to be revived. Okay, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because, you know, this person's thinking, they're witnessing things, they're seeing things, but they're seeing it from above, like they're not even in their body. Okay, so if something like this can occur, that means that thoughts don't even truly originate in the body. This is why it says it is not in the flesh to think. It's not in bones to reason. So just because you have a body, like say you clone someone, you create some, you know, human mass, you put all the cells and all that stuff together, bones and muscle tissue and skin and hair and all this stuff. Okay, what you basically have is a meat body, a robot. It's not necessarily going to be thinking and capable of doing what we're capable of doing, because thoughts don't necessarily originate in the body. It's not necessarily in the flesh to think. All right. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him. Right. So he's not even thinking on that level that one day my body is going to die and it's going to be consumed by the worms. He's not thinking about that. It's only us. The ox perceiveth not that he's fed for slaughter. Right. So the ox, that's the cow. Right. They're not even aware. Maybe when they get closer to that slaughterhouse, though. But when they're out there grazing the field, they're not even thinking about it. Okay. Something is added to thee, unlike to what thou seest. something informs the clay, you know, speaking again about the flesh, just reminding you, it keeps reminding you, clay, that your physical body is composed of the earth, and that physical body is going to go right back to the earth. Doesn't matter what kind of clothes you put on it, doesn't matter what you do. It's composed of the earth and it's going back to it, right? So something makes us different. Something informs the clay, right? It's literally telling you something informs the clay. Something that is not of the flesh is informing it. And when it says inform, that's meaning to animate or inspire, to give information, supply knowledge or enlightenment, right? So something animates or inspires the body to move or to take action, something that's not physical. All right. Higher than all is the object of thy senses. Behold, what is it? Okay. And, you know, discern. That's what behold means, to recognize. What is it? What is it, you know, that makes us different? The body remaineth perfect after it is fled. Therefore, it is no part of it. It is immaterial, right? It has no material body. It's bodiless. And it's not subject to time in relation to the flesh. So it's eternal. And it's free. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its actions. All right. And just bringing that, you know, it's responsible. It's not saying that it's not responsible, right? It's accountable for its actions, but it is free to act. All right. And that's something that also separates us from the angelic beings, because their will isn't strong enough to go off on their own, do their own thing, do harm, just as we can do good. Right? We're free to act. And this is also something that separates us from everything. Knoweth the ass the use of food, because his teeth mow down the herbage, right? Speaking about the donkey, right? They don't even really understand the use of food. Just because they eat doesn't mean that they know this food is, you know, being converted into energy within the body and broken down in the blood. They don't know all of that, right? I mean, is it conscious of that, or is it just following its instincts? All right. That's also in chapter 38, verse 4, where it says, nor be like the horse, nor be thou like to the horse and the mule, in whom there is no understanding. Right? So not knocking any other creations, just saying there's a difference. Okay. And then going on, or standeth the crocodile erect, although his backbone is as straight as thine. Right? So his backbone straight, our backbone straight. How come he doesn't stand up like we do? Speaking about the crocodile, how come we're the only ones? All right, even the apes, you know, some of them, they can't really stand up straight and walk. You know, they're almost on all fours. They're using their knuckles. I remember there was a bear too that they showed like on the news, because it was weird. It was an anomaly because it was walking straight. Right? Because why? For the most part, they can stand up straight, but for the most part, they walk on all fours. There was one bear going around, people had him on tape. So it's only us. Allah formed thee as he formed these, right? Speaking about the creation, all the other animals and creatures, after them all wert thou created, right? We were formed last. Superiority and command, that's lordship and mastery, okay? Superiority and command were given thee over all. And that's again speaking about us being vice regents. Okay, Allah created man to be his vice regents on earth. So we have lordship and mastery over creation. right? We were created after them and then given superiority and command. Superiority and command were given thee over all, and of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. The principle of knowledge, that's the fundamental law. So Allah embedded us with the fundamental law, right? The principle of knowledge. So within us, whether we realize it or not, the knowledge, all right, of, knowledge of self, becoming aware of these virtues that we have, and being able to move in that direction where we can subdue our lower self and unveil Allah within man, right? So he gave that to us. So it's embedded within us. We just have to activate it. And as I was saying before, you take one step towards Allah, takes two steps towards you. So we just have to start to move in that direction, right? Be aware of it and start to take action. All right. So moving on. Know thyself and the pride of his creation. The line uniting divinity and matter. Behold, a part of Allah within thee. Remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or to meanness. So let me pause right there. The pride of his creation, right? If we look in the Quran, is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, says the same thing. Islam more, hang on. Okay, so if we look at Surah 17, Ayat 70, it says, and we have certainly honored the children of Adam and carried them on the land and sea and provided for them of the good things and preferred them over much of what we have created with definite preference. Okay, prefer them over much of what we have created with definite preference. All right, so that's pretty clear. Created us and gave us preference. Also, in Surah 15, Surah 15, Ayat 28, recall when your Lord said to the angels, I will indeed bring into being a human being out of dry, wringing clay, wrought from black mud. When I have completed shaping him and have breathed into him of my spirit, then fall you down before him in prostration. So the angels, all of them fell down in prostration. Okay, and so once again, letting it be known, created us, the physical part of us out of the earth, breathed into him his spirit, and even the angels we have dominion over. Even the angels fell down in prostration, right? So something special about this creation that Allah planted his seed in, and Allah's within everything. But, okay, we have free will, the ability to do good or bad, good or evil, right? And everything doesn't have that. Also, in Surah 95:4, we have certainly created man in the best of stature. Then we return him to the lowest of the low. Okay, so just reiterating on that once again, we were created and given preference. Okay, and this should motivate us to actually move in this direction now, right? Knowing thyself, unveiling Allah within us, right? So just once again, know thyself and the pride of his creation, right? So if we know the higher self, right? Allah and man. Now we're beginning to understand why we're the pride of his creation. The line uniting divinity and matter. All right. Remember, man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Why is it truth and falsehood strangely mixed? Because that which is unseen, the spirit realm, is that which is real. Okay, and that which we see, the physical matter, is falsehood because it's finite. It has a beginning and an end. All right. Behold a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or meanness. So now with this knowledge, right, we can't go low. We can't. That's also the, burden that comes along with knowing thyself. You can't go low. We have to do the work to raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom, at all times, not just when it's convenient. Okay, and who planted terror in the tail of the serpent? Who clothed the neck of the horse with thunder? Even he who hath instructed thee to crush the one under thy feet and to tame the other to thy purpose. Islam. On that note, though, I want to go ahead and open up the floor to questions or to any comments that anyone might have. All right, that's the end of chapter 36. If anybody has any questions or any insight you would like to share, feel free to speak up.
Islam Grand Sheikh. I had a few highlighted a couple of years ago on this chapter. One that really stood out is on chapter 5 and note 5. It is not in the flesh to think, and it is not in the bone to reason. Now, as us as Moorish Americans, we should really look at that sentence. What do we do as far as if you look at your car, you're not Black, Negro, color, or African American? As a Moorish Americans, do you do that or do you not do that? Islam. And my thing is, if the prophet is saying that it is not in the flesh to think and it's not in the bones to reason, that is like, to me, like one of the 12 steps as far as you got to kind of look into yourself and see that. Islam.
Islam, brother. Islam, gratitude. Did you want to expound on that a little bit more? What you were saying about the nationality card?
Oh, Islam, not the card. It just is fact of being a Moorish American and knowing that who you are, and the prophet saying that. And as far as what we know, we look out as far as saying savage and the way that we know our people are not living the way that is Moorish. If you look at that and really kind of pay attention to that and exclude that, because if the prophet says it's not in your flesh to think and you exclude that, so okay, it's not in my flesh to think and it's not in my bones to reason. Most of us have that, and we don't even know it because it's just what we're programmed. Islam. That's all I was saying on that aspect.
Islam, brother, I agree, and that's why we were reduced to the level of the beast, right? That's why the whole Negro, I guess you could say, category was created for us, right? To keep us out of that line, this, like it says in this Negro beast or in the Image of God book, to keep us out of that line, direct line of kinship with God, right? How could we know that we even have that direct line if we don't even know who we are, and our connection? And so, work was put into actually creating this, defining it, And now let's get them to go along with this and remove whatever connection they have, you know, for example, with the elders who could teach them who they are, you know, breaking up the families and things of that nature to help make this happen. So after you do that to one or two generations, that third generation who's gone through slavery and, you know, the breaking up of the families, and they have this label of Negro on them, they don't know that they're anything else. So now they have to start all the way from square one. And so all of that work that was done into creating this Negro, it wasn't done, you know, just for fun. It wasn't people just making books and writing laws and things of this nature just for themselves to show how racist they were. No, this was done by design to actually get us to the point where, like you said earlier, the point that even that we're still at today, where people are proudly calling themselves savage. They think it's cool. They don't see anything wrong with it, right? And it's, if we're the only ones, and not Moors are the only ones, but if humans are the only ones that, as we're reading in this chapter, who can contemplate, you know, who can understand their connection to the Creator, who can subdue the lower self, right? If they're the only ones that do that, but you created something that's out of that line, you know, and we're going along with it, that cuts us off too. It literally cuts us off where we can't even realize our full potential because we're walking around with a beast mindset because we embodied it. We took it on wholeheartedly. And some people even proud to be an N-word, you know, and see nothing wrong with it. And, you know, it's serious. It's a lot of work, you know, people are going to have to do, but, you know, it's no joke. And yeah, I'm glad you said that though, brother. Gratitude. Does anybody else have any questions or anything they would like to share? Islam, sister.
Islam. First and foremost, I'd like to rise and give perfect praise to our Father God Allah, honors to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and honors to all of Allah's prophets, honors to everybody on the call this evening. Happy Holy Day, Muslims. I just want to add a little bit to the measure because me being a healer, licensed massage therapist, I had to learn about the functions of the body, right? And it just like resonated with me where the flesh don't think and the bones don't reason is because they have specific functions of their own in the body that's exclusive to these specific body parts, Islam. And you know, it's up to us to learn our anatomy, learn our nature, learn our characteristics so that we can learn our purpose, because that will lead us to our assignments here on the earth plane. And how we do that, like the prophet told us, to study self. And studying yourself, you know, it takes a lifetime because we change, right? We're not the same person that we was 10 years ago. And definitely not 10 years before that. You know, a lot of us were little kids and babies, and we have grown so much physically, mentally. And so we have to kind of go backwards when we're starting to study ourselves to remember, you know, those past memories and what made us the way we are today, because it all comes from what we've been through. And that's where that knowledge and wisdom comes in, because whatever we have come through is what molded us to be who we are today and where we are today, Islam. And so when we study self, we have to study self in totality, our past selves, our present selves, and even our future selves, because we live in cycle ages, right? So we do know by being here and by paying attention, pretty much how we age and, you know, how our bodies can change. But there are special things here for us to find that kind of helps us to age gracefully, you know, and take different measures so that we're not on the same path as those who may not know or may not study self, right? So we have to learn to pray and meditate so that we can listen, so that we can access those secret, those hidden gems that lies dormant within us. And last, we definitely have to walk in faith and in love so that we can do this in peace. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam and gratitude, sister. Islam. So yeah, this for the most part, this is challenging us to at least question like what our true nature is, right? The real power that we can't see that's behind all of the physical manifestations that we see in our senses, or how our body really works. What's really power in that, right? It says Allah whispers into us, Allah breathes in us, okay? So remember that too, that phrase, right? The principle of knowledge, and of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. Okay, so this was bestowed upon us, and this is also something that distinguishes us from everything else. All right, and it's this is, you know, the key, right, to at least questioning or moving towards true knowledge of self, knowing thyself, right, and understanding that Allah and man are one. All right, and this is something that we as Moors must always keep in mind. On that note, I yield the floor. If anyone has any questions in general, even if it's not related to this chapter, feel free to speak.
Islam Grand Sheik is. I do love this bill, and I just wanted to add in the camelback on what it all ties in on the key 10. Know thyself and the pride of the creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or to meanness. That's us. That's our creed. That's, you know, that's what we go about. And in the build, it all keys to this whole chapter. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, brother, gratitude. All right. Does anybody else have anything they would like to share? Or any questions? Okay, if there's no questions, I want to announce without further ado, we're going into the closing of the meeting. All right, I do just want to remind everyone though, make sure you go to Moorishamericans.com and you can make a free profile on there. It's not the same as joining the temple though, that's just our website. Moorish, hang on, I'll share it in the chat. Moorishamericans.com. So it's Moorish Americans with the S. Okay, and you can make a free profile on there. All right. And on that note, okay, that's in the chat. Okay, all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We ask that everyone please rise and face the east with us for the closing prayer. You do not need to repeat after me. We stand with our heels together, Feet at a 45-degree angle, holding up 2 fingers on the right and 5 on the left. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Moors. Happy Holy Day.
Islam, happy holy day.
Peace and love. Happy
Happy
Holy Day,
Holy
Ma.
Day.
Happy
Happy Holy
Holy
Day,
Day,
family.
peace, love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Islam.